Afternoon, and it's afternoon. This is the House Appropriations Committee. It is Friday, March 20th, 2026. It is 5:52 p.m. and we are here to talk about spreadsheets and positions. So James and Emily, thank you. Take it away.
Stephanie joining fiscal.
Emily Brown, joint fiscal.
We are going to begin our walkthrough with you with our position spreadsheet. We'll just dive right in. So this is a spreadsheet showing positions that were both added by the House Appropriations Committee that were not included in the governor's recommend, as well as the governor's recommended positions that are included in the governor's recommend. So we'll identify those as we go through. B111 tax department. This is reflected in the base changes spreadsheet that we'll be handing out as well. Tax department requested a authorization for a business analyst to assist with Act 73. That's education transformation related changes.
That was on our spreadsheet yesterday. It said tax education stuff, and it just had a number like 135 or something. So we had that on there yesterday.
I'll just say these, so that's a new one over GovRec. B132, treasurer, unclaimed property, program technician 3. You all discussed this earlier. This is funded through unclaimed property with no general fund impact. Also related to H567 is the authorization of a position at VPIC, Financial Director 3. This is to accommodate the shift through H567 of OPEB from the Treasurer's Office to VPIC. And this is funded, and you'll notice there's a number of section numbers identified on the left-hand column for that position. This position will be funded through a number of line items related to the various state pension funds. So that's also position funded without general fund impact. The Secretary of State requested 2 positions. The first is a records and information management specialist and a business services administrator. The Secretary of State's office is seeking authorization, but no funding for this ask. There is sufficient base funding in B232 to cover the cost of these positions. So just seeking authorization for permanent classified positions.
Where does the funding come from?
This would be funded through the existing governor's recommended base for the Secretary of State's office.
Okay. All right. I wasn't remembering that. Go on.
Moving on, B236, Human Rights Commission. You have you've all discussed this position already previously in committee. This will be a staff attorney investigator. It's noted on your spreadsheet as a paralegal or other. I think there had been some discussion in the committee about what the appropriate position authorization would be for the Human Rights Commission.
Give enough money for one and ask them which one it was they wanted.
Exactly. So you have all
attorney.
You've all given appropriated about $170,000 above GovRec to the Human Rights Commission this year, in part to cover vacancy savings that were assumed in the GovRec, and then as well as $108,000 for a position. So they have sufficient funding to cover this position as well as partially undo the vacancy savings that are assumed in the governor's recommend for their FY27 budget. B329, this is the Disabilities Housing Coordinator at Dale. B311, this is the item above GovRec that you have all seen before. This is related to Flood Safety Act or Act 121 positions to better implement the Flood Safety Act. These would be 2 environmental engineer positions at ANR. Story behind these, the 15 positions were already appropriated at ANR or were authorized at ANR for implementation of the Flood Safety Act, but only 11 were funded. And the budget as it's before you all would authorize 2 additional positions, bringing them up to 13 out of the 15 that were originally envisioned and authorized for implementing that act. Next, we're on to a batch of positions. The remainder of the positions in this section of the table are all included in the governor's recommend. And you've all heard these in testimony from the various departments and agencies. So there are 3 line items related to limited service positions that would come out of the position pool for military. Additionally, there would be 1 administrative services manager authorized in the current governor's recommend language of the Agency of Ag.
So there's 6 positions in the military, 4
Yes, that's correct.
admins
Yes.
and 1 building instruction and 1 storekeeper.
Thank you. Yes, there are three lines for military, but 6 total positions.
Yep.
And the next is the position out of the pool at AAFM for the Administrative Services Manager. This would be permanent classified. Next, there are 5 items related to DIVA. These would authorize a total of 12 positions. Thank you, Emily. Various positions at DIVA out of the position pool. These are all included in the governor's recommend. And these would be permanent classified positions. And then finally, on this section of the table, we have 7 pool positions that were proposed to be authorized at the Department of Corrections, Probations and Parole Officers related to implementation of pretrial services. But you all discussed this language with Grady earlier today. Given the reversions that are being accomplished through the House budget related to pretrial, this language will be struck.
Really clear on all of those?
So that brings us through new classified positions. And next, the second section of the table is authorizations for exempt positions. And then after that, we'll discuss conversion of limited service to permanent.
So before we go down, I see that I'm figuring this out. So in the governor rec, he had 26 and we have 28. So it's not that much different, in large part because we eliminated those 7 positions at DOC. So, okay, thank you.
I'm just looking at this now, right? Those 7 positions at DOC were created from the pool. So if you wanted to, we could create 7 of the new positions from the pool as opposed to completely new.
That's probably a good idea. I don't know that we can do the treasurer or VPIC, but we could do, we do all the others?
Yeah.
Let's see, let's do the flood safety. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that, and then the housing coordinator, the HRC, the 2 SOS. 3, 4, 5. The tax. And then maybe the unclaimed property. Because I think there were 8 there. Does that add up?
It does.
Okay.
Actually, I think without the unclaimed property, I think you're at 7.
Okay, so let's not do the unclaimed property and VPIC, and then we have 7. That's a great idea. Thank you.
So moving on to authorizations for exempt positions. Budget as it's before you would authorize a staff attorney at the Labor Relations Board or staff attorney / mediator at the Labor Relations Board. Ethics Commission staff attorney at the 136.1. This would be related to fulfilling mandates in Act 171 and would assist with municipal ethics consultations and support. And that's actually the entirety of that section. And if you flip over the physical copy in front of you, we're now on to the conversion of limited services to permanent. So this is also a mix of several that are new as proposed by House Appropriations and conversions that are proposed in the governor's recommend. So at B.
So these were some of the ones that normally would be in the E100, but the governor didn't put them in the E100. Even because aren't conversions usually put in E100 from sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, I remember I've seen it in the past.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
Changes sometimes.
Okay. Seems
And this is the FY27 GovRec language does have conversion language in the E.
yeah,
E section.
various spots.
Yes. But yeah, so at B200, Attorney General's office, there are 2 positions included in the House of Appropriations budget as it's before you that would be converted from limited service to permanent. This is the Assistant Director of Court Diversion and Pretrial Services and the Home Improvement Specialist, which you all voted on and discussed earlier today. B204, Judiciary. So this is a request that you all heard about from Judiciary when they testified back in February. In the FY25 Big Bill, the Judiciary was authorized for 26 limited service positions, but the money for those positions was carried in their base. So the authorization for those 26 limited service positions will be expiring at the end of FY26. They're seeking authorization to now carry those positions in their base. This would not represent new funding, since it's kind of funny, but they were authorized as limited service, but because they were funded in their base, it's included in their proposed governor's recommend for this year.
This stuff always confuses me. Trevor, does this all make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. And I spent time talking to Adam Russian about this. They're fine.
You're fine with it, okay. Great.
All right, so we're on to a request from the Secretary of State's office. This would also not carry a fiscal impact for FY27, as the cost of this position would be carried in the Secretary of State's base budget, but they are requesting authorization to convert a municipal services division position and administrative services coordinator from limited service to permanent. This was authorized in FY25, I believe, and they had always envisioned the position as permanent, but it had been authorized initially as limited service, and they are hoping for permission to make that conversion. E233, Public Service Department. Oh, and just to be clear, the Secretary of State's requested conversion is above GovRec. That is not included in the governor's recommend.
Okay, but there's no new money.
No, there's no money attached to that request.
It's an existing position that we're just converting. Okay.
That's correct. So now we're on to governor's recommended limited service conversions. So E233, Public Service Department, Financial Director 4. This is an existing position that they're hoping to convert. This position would help oversee various federal grants and is, I believe, covered in the existing PSD base. It would be funded primarily through the indirect rates of various grants that this position will help administer. And then after Public Service Department, there are 5 Agency of Education positions that were authorized under the Ed Transformation Bill that the agency is hoping to convert from limited service to base.
Either those have not been hired yet.
The agency has testified that there are a number of vacancies in these positions. I can't recall if all 5 are vacant or a subset of those, but the agency has testified that they have had trouble recruiting for these positions, given the level of seniority attached to some of them, with only 3 years of authorization.
Go ahead.
Just a clarification. I realize that I don't really know, like, when we make a decision to take from the pool versus create a new position. How do we, like, what's the calculus that goes into that? We said for certain positions, nope, can't take from the pool. What does that mean exactly? I'm asking anybody. We're not just joint fiscal.
I can take a shot at it.
Go ahead.
So if it's the number of positions in state government is set by the General Assembly, right, as a number.
Mhm.
If you direct the executive branch or whoever to take the positions from the pool, then it means that there are no new positions. The net number of positions in state government remains the same. And the Secretary of Administration has authorization to go and sweep vacant positions into the pool, or if there's a program that goes away, for example, positions get swept into the pool, and the pool, sometimes it's a kiddie pool and sometimes it's a deep
Sometimes a
pool.
puddle.
Sometimes it varies.
Really, why would we say, like, no, we can't take from the pool for this?
I don't know that there's a specific reason why this one versus that one, because at the end of the day, they're all positions that are coming in and out of the pool. It's really a matter of do you want to not increase the number of positions being created?
Mhm.
The executive branch has signaled that the pool is a little deeper than, because all the positions they put on the table are created using pool positions. So there's some flexibility to use pool positions and not, you could, if you establish all of the positions as new, then you'll create all new
Yes.
positions. But so to the extent they've told you there is this much capacity in the pool, you could establish a chunk of them from the pool, and then the remainder would be net new to state government.
All right.
And I pick the treasurer repick in particular because just because I think it's a very specialized thing outside of state government, I don't want to get messed up.
I suspect that especially since it's going to be doing OPEB, or she's going to be doing OPEB financial services type of analysis, they're probably not going to have a common, there's not going to be many people to choose from unless you go outside the pool.
Right, exactly, exactly. Wayne, did you have
I
anything?
don't remember whether or not the classification levels follow the position into the pool.
Yeah, I think it's just the numbers.
Doesn't,
Once they eliminate financial director 3 and it just becomes a number and then it can
Right.
come back out as a environmental analyst.
Whatever you,
4,
great.
whatever you need it to be.
we would have to reclassify anything.
You have to go through the RFR process. Amy's back at JFO and hopefully she's listening. She could appear and answer all these questions, but that may be a good thing to talk about with her after you finish this.
Yeah, I had written down things to do in April, positions was one of them, so I think we're coming around to this as somebody I hope will remember that that's one of the things we want to talk about. Marty, did you have
Well,
something?
I just want clarification. Indeed, do we somehow, and I don't know where the number came from, we have a fixed number of positions, employees. We're going to only employ 8,000 people or whatever the number is. And we get these changes because there are places that are empty, nobody's there. And so we say, okay, well, now ag, you can hire somebody because there's an empty spot over here in TFR.
Mhm.
Okay, but so who sets that top number?
General Assembly.
And when did we last change it? Perhaps.
I don't know that there's a cap on it per se. Cameron Wood came over to me after he testified earlier and just with an answer to the question that we asked earlier, which was the General Assembly sets, we can determine who and how many people we want in whatever position. I think we've been, I don't want to say cowed, but I just did. So, we've been convinced that there is a cap of some sort or that the administration sets these numbers. And the fact is, bottom line is that it's us. So we can determine.
It's not like there's a number that exists in statute or something to
Oh,
that
that's
effect,
what I'm
right?
wondering.
It is every time you say establish a new position, then the number
And
goes
you
up.
just created another one. Okay.
And when you say abolish it, sometimes it says you say abolish and you fully abolish it and the count goes down. Sometimes you say abolish it, but put the positions in the pool. So it can vary.
So the total amount that's authorized at any one time can vary when we decide we want a new position. It's not like there's some law that says 8,000, period.
And the thing that Cameron reminded us of is that the question we had was about adding positions or allowing the treasurer's office to add positions, which has no immediate impact on general funds as testified. But there might be an impact with the Pay Act later. There might be an impact with, or not even where they're not in the Pay Act, but it's just the way benefits are calculated. So it's, I mean, I think we assumed that because we want to be prudent. But in the end, there is we get to do that. And it's political as well.
Okay. Are we good on that? Let's continue with, do we have any more positions that we have to talk about? Or did we get through everything?
If you go to this, we'll make sure that the language is drafted. All of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right, because AOD was the last one.
Okay. So this one I realize the other 3 are a little bit bigger. Sorry for this is a little smaller, but when we look at it one more time on Monday, we'll make it bigger. We'll turn it sideways and make it 2 pages.
Everybody have a copy, has a copy.
All right, so we're gonna start with base budget. And at one times. Madam Chair, do you want me to go through line by line? I mean, I can go through line by line. Also, we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
I can flag ones that I think you might want to know more about. The gray ones are the ones that you changed, that we talked about yesterday. Or that have changed in the last 24 hours.
Gray ones?
They're sort of gray. Technically, they're gray. If you look at them online, they're more gray.
It's a lighter gray.
Oh, the lighter gray, the darker gray, we didn't change from the governor, so I don't need to go through any of that.
Okay.
I don't think.
Want me to go quick?
Let's go quick.
Okay, and I'll just do the changed ones.
Yeah.
So the first one on row 2, this is the updated pay acts that we talked about a couple minutes ago, an hour ago. Updated numbers based on executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch needs and are in the pay act bill that passed GovOps. On line 8 is the mediator position at the Labor Relations Board. Row 9 is the position at the Ethics Commission. Row 11 is the position at the Tax Department. This is easy. You already just talked about all these things. Row 12 is the Home Improvement Specialist position at the Attorney General's office. And shout if, I'm not going to look up every time I talk about it. You gotta have to yell if you have a question. So line 13 is the additional $350,000 for the Defender General for training and for their contracts and related administrative costs for.
So you got,
Case management.
Trevor did that the way you
Yeah.
wanted to do it. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Line 14 at the judiciary, an additional $250,000 for sheriff's court security contracts. Line 15 at state's attorney, the 15, 16, and 17 are the elimination of vacancy savings for the state's attorneys, the victims advocates, and the sheriffs. Then we'll jump to line 21, $100,000 for grant administration at the Center for Crime Victims Services. Line 24, Secretary of State's office, Vermont Access Network. Line 25 is the Human Rights Commission, the new position, and the buyback of their vacancy savings. Okay. On line 28 is the additional funding for the healthcare advocate. It's a small amount of general fund, but there's match associated with that, so it'll be a $450,000 increase. Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I'm sorry, back on line 24, the Vermont Access Network was the 450, what they asked for. There was also the 90 for the radio.
Yes, that's a one-time.
Is that one time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Line 29 is the annualization of the rate increase for AAA case management that was in the Budget Adjustment Act. And then line 30 is the same thing, the annualization of the restoration of the Tier 1 enhanced residential care rates that was also in the Budget Adjustment Act. Line 31, this is the general fund match for a rate increases for the DAs, SSAs, and home and community-based services. The total appropriation is about $6.5 million when you include global commitment. When you see that in the web report on Monday, that will show up in the general fund will be in the mixing bowl appropriation, and then all of the detail appropriations will show up in Dale and DMH and VDH and DIVA across AHS. Line 32 is the rate change for the skilled home health rates, skilled nursing and home health rates. Line 33 is the elder care program at mental health. So these ones are a little tricky, right? So for the general fund, shows up in the mixing bowl, right? So we've tried to indicate like where the total appropriation will show up. It'll be clear in the web report when you get that on Monday. Line 34, this is a decrease in DIVA, but it's in net neutral impact. They're going to get special fund spending authority from the school-based Medicaid fund. This was that fund thing that we went through yesterday related to 558. So there's 2 more transactions at AOE and DCF associated with that. Line 35 is the Bridges to Health funding. Line 36 and 37 are the AHEC funds. Line 38 is the additional harm reduction services. This is also an annualization of a change in the Budget Adjustment Act. Line 30, and actually this one we added last night. Oh, sorry. Okay. On line 39 is the funding for the free and referral clinics. The health department has a 50-50 state federal match. Line 41 is the increase in the 211 contract for services in the evenings. And that one also has a global commitment match component to it. Line 42, this is a second transaction related to the school-based Medicaid net neutral change. When we figured out that there was money in DCF associated with school-based Medicaid that AHS wanted to clean up. Line 44, we have the disability housings coordinator at Dale.
Yeah, so 43 and
Oh, sorry, I see
43 and
46.
46 are just swapping to put it in the right place.
Correct. Yes, I don't think we mentioned that anywhere, but that was a technical change we received from AHS a long time ago, so I forgot about it. And then in line 45, we have the deaf and blind support services for $150,000. And then the next line is line 48. So this is the reduction in pretrial services funding out of DOC's base budget that we've talked about.
Which is different from pretrial supervision.
Yeah, let me ask.
Oh, maybe it's the wrong.
Yeah, I think we should, it's not pretrial services, it's the 850 should be the pretrial supervision,
Pretrial supervision. Okay,
right?
yes.
And that should be the reduction. The pretrial services is probably the one above that,
It's the one above that. Okay.
okay? Which is the GovRec.
Yes, we can tweak that language.
We just switch supervision and services on those two lines.
Yes.
Okay.
Make that change.
We can do that. On line 50 is the AOE change related to the school-based Medicaid funding change. And then the next one on line 55, for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. So we have to backfill the access fee that the miscellaneous tax bill does not allow to go forward. So they need money in their base budget.
The budget had assumed that they could charge bird watchers at access points. Yeah. Okay.
Correct. Line 56 is the funding for the two positions for the flood safety bill. And line 58 is the federal matching fund for the Arts Council, or the matching fund so they can pull down the federal match. Hopefully those all sound familiar.
So we really only added under 7.5 million in base. Okay.
Did you want more?
No, I just observing.
Then when we go to the other bills, there's the 25,000 for the H410, 50,000 for H559 for the parole board. Then in 657, the unaccompanied homeless youth. So that's changing the reach up asset test.
All of those are, the money is going with the bill, so they're not in the budget, unlike some of the other ones. What about, are we carrying H67?
It's one time. So carrying it.
That's right, we got it. This is
There's a whole bunch more in the one-time sheet.
That's right, this is base.
Yep.
Got it.
And then if we go down to the bottom, we carried the changes related to the miscellaneous tax bill sort of separately, so you could see the specifics. So there's the downtown payment assistance tax credit. We put the research and development tax credit on here just as an awareness that it's happening, but there's no fiscal impact in 2027. The expansion of the downtown and village tax credit. There's the linking and decoupling related to the tax provisions that was talked about when you talked about the miscellaneous tax bill. And then the change in the allocation of the meals and rooms tax. Dedicating more to the education fund than the general fund in lieu of transferring general fund to the education fund. So you'll see that on a one-time sheet.
Yeah, I think this would go in here. It would be a transfer from the crime victim services to DCF. Should that appear here?
There's a transfer.
Yes, it'll be a decrease in crime victim services and an increase in DCF. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Glad that. Thanks. And the one thing that I did skip is the direct applications line, which is line 76. Another spreadsheet to segue into the next.
How did ours get, oh, that was the AHS difference from the.
Correct.
Okay,
That's that only change.
we just rounded up to an even 5 million.
So, and I can go through this sheet very quickly before, you're gonna see some of these again on the one times. Well, we've got it. So on line 11 is where you see that additional $360,000 from the earned federal receipts. One, or that'll be a base transfer to the general fund. And then while we've got this one up, so in terms of transfers to the general fund, we're also carrying on the one-time sheet, the money from the technology modernization fund, the 9.55 million of interest. On the bottom. Those are the only changes in terms of money from other funds coming to the general fund. We're going to scroll up to the top part, which is money leaving the general fund. The three changes in this section are in the one-time section. So on line 6 is where we have the money going to the education fund. Because of the change in the meals and rooms tax, you can reduce the transfer to the education fund by $10 million. There was originally 10 million to make up for the purchase and use loss, but because of the way Ways and Means did that, that transfer is no longer needed. And then on line 8 is the transfer to the domestic and sexual abuse special fund. And line 9 is the final transfer to the CIT fund at ES.
And the police and radio too, did you mention that one? I think you skipped over that, just. And that's.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that one didn't change from GovRec. That's why I didn't talk about it.
Oh, I see, got it, yep.
Sorry.
Lonely.
Yes. If you want me to talk about any of the GovRec ones, I can, but
No, that's fine.
okay, great. Now we'll talk about one times.
Ouch.
Description.
Oh.
We've got any one.
I feel like I haven't handed out enough spreadsheets, so that's why we had like 9 different versions of this last year. But that one, while I'm at it.
Oh. You give the nice farewell.
Spreadsheet.
Okay,
Okay,
ready?
oh, I don't know, what's that? This is in it.
Kind of both.
Summary of reversions, is that coming?
Yes.
Oh, I
This
just
first spreadsheet, the first line on it is the summary of the reversions. You can check to make sure the number matches the delta. So there were 3 changes to reversions from the governor's recommend. The first one is $80,000 from the Agency of Digital Services. The redistricting task force is done, and I believe there's $80,000 there that can be reverted. Line 16, correctional services. We have to, this weekend, one of the things we'll fill in is what their correct DEPT ID is for that, but that is the reversion of current year, I get it wrong, pretrial supervision money from DOC.
Yeah.
And then the last one in line 19 is the DEC emissions repair program, reverting the remaining funds there. Those are the reversions. Okay, and we'll go back.
Yes,
Yes, go ahead.
just a general question. Is there a relationship is there a technical relationship when we say reversions are money that's been granted and then we're pulling it back, appropriated and we're pulling it back?
Correct.
How would we refer to, in the same way we saw that vacancy savings were, there was like $80 million worth of vacancy savings in the governor's rec? Is vacancy savings just a separate thing, but isn't it doing the same thing as, in a way of doing reversions, just a way of saying, we gave you this money or we gave you these positions to potentially spend, but we don't want you to spend that money on those positions and therefore we're saving it?
Complicated. So to try to keep it short. So the vacancy savings effectively lowers the spending authority that you're granting to an agency or department. So when they build the budget, they say we need $1 million for positions, but we're gonna assume that we're gonna have a vacant position, so we're gonna have $100,000 of vacancy savings. So rather than appropriate a full $1 million, you only appropriate 900,000. So a reversion is you've actually made the appropriation and now you're pulling it back. Vacancy savings in effect reduces the initial appropriation right out of the gate.
Right, it's a form of take back, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
In a different-
I just want to,
Yeah.
just getting the world of money going in many directions.
Take back is I'm never giving.
This year.
Okay, so we'll go down through the top through the sources of one-time funds. So we just talked about the reversions. And then there is the $30 million that was part of governor's recommend of unreserving money that was set aside for education property tax relief or other needs of the state. And then on line 3, there was $74.91 million at the end of FY26 in the Budget Adjustment Act that's carried forward into FY27 for FY27 needs. That amount is being reduced in your construct because of the miscellaneous tax bill. So how we manage the loss of anticipated loss of corporate tax revenue in 2026 is by reducing the amount of money that will be carried forward from the prior year. Line 4, we just spoke about this, but this is the transfer from the Technology Modernization Fund to the general fund. And then in line 5 is what was left over from the base sheet, which I realized I never actually pointed that out, but in your current construct, there's anticipated to be $27 million of base sources that are unallocated to base things that can be utilized for one-time expenditures in FY 2027. So, do you want me to just touch on the House added items? Okay. So line 8 is the item we just talked about. We're double checking with the Agency of Administration in terms of where this should be appropriated, but
Isn't
providing.
there a special fund for flood relief or something like that you can put it in there?
So we could transfer it to the town highway fund. Yeah, we need to figure out exactly where that's gonna go, but for now we're gonna, the
Go to the
placeholder
right place. Okay.
is there for those impacted towns. Then if we go down to line 14,
We have to make a decision.
yes, this is where we put it in DCF for now, because grants to local food shelves through the food bank are through DCF. But if you had not decided as of yesterday, if you wanted to do Vermonters feeding Vermonters or a local food shelf.
Just, we had 2 choices and I didn't pick one and I thought we could decide and then I forgot that we needed to decide yesterday. So I don't think we should divide it up any further. I think we should just give the 400 to one or the other. Although I could be sorry? Oh. Well, we have the head of the food bank here. Maybe we should ask him. John, would you like to introduce yourself and if you have an opinion?
Sure, John Sales, CEO of the Vermont Food Bank. I live here in Montpelier. Thanks for the chance to speak. I would say, the Vermonters Feeding Vermonters program is a way, it's got the win-win-win. So we're purchasing food from Vermont farms. That food is coming to the food bank and then getting distributed throughout our system, including to local food shelves. So if asked to make a choice there, I think Vermonters Feeding Vermonters would be one that would touch everything.
All right. Sounds good to everybody? Let's do that. Thanks for being here.
So the next time you see this, that will be reflected not in the DCF budget, but the AASM budget.
Right. Okay.
We'll make that change. Line 15 is the Nurturing Parents program. There's some additional match funds there that will be in the total appropriation. Yes, line 16 is the Parent-Child Centers, the Concrete Supports Program. Line 17, a grant to end homelessness Vermont. Line 18, the supervised visitation funding that we talked about earlier this afternoon. Line 19 is the Agency of Human Services Central Office, funding for the legal aid helpline. On line 20, the Meals on Wheels funding for the AHS. So the general fund will be in the AHS central office, and then there'll be an appropriation for the global commitment funds that can be matched in Department of Disabilities, Aging and Independent Living.
It's a good match, more than 50%.
In line 22 is Forest Parks and Rec, Serve, Learn and Earn. Line 25 to, I believe we have to double check this is the right one now that I think about it. Department of Economic Development, the Vermont Professionals of Color Network, 75,000. Line 26 to the Department of Health for AEDs in schools. Line 27 at the Department of Health funding for the Youth Council. Line 28 at the Department of Mental Health, the Community Outreach Program funding. And in line 29, CBOEO Day Shelter, the Department of Mental Health. Line 30 at Disabilities Aging Independent Living, funding for Home Share Vermont. Line 31 for the Agency of Agriculture to NOFA Vermont for Cross Cap and, oh no, I always get this one backwards. I apologize. Crop Cash and Crop Cash Plus. That's correct. That's the first time. I don't know how many years. Okay.
Guess we're learning.
Yeah. Line 32, it's the agriculture funding for the conservation districts. This one, I'm actually on line 33. We have at the Attorney General's office, the funding for the legal aid immigration attorney. I don't actually know if it should go to the Attorney General's office, but that seemed like the most logical place for a grant to legal aid was through, but that may not be correct. So I don't know if there is
I don't know offhand because they received funds from somebody through age.
right. It could go through AHS. I didn't know, but since it's immigration work, I didn't know if AHS.
Where was we're not funding it right now, apparently, but the immigration grant program, the guardianship of immigration, because where is that? I didn't print out that cheat sheet that you gave me, but I don't have an answer.
Okay, we were gonna figure it out, or we'll go to the AG and we'll fix it.
Yeah.
Along the way.
Great.
Okay. We can reach out to the AG and see if it makes sense too. Okay, so in line 34, we have the van community radio we mentioned earlier, and line 35, the Secretary of State's office, and line 35, funding for the elections this fall. Line 36, Department of Labor, funding for Advanced Vermont. Line 37 to the Agency of Education, where the Child and Adult Care Food Program is. Line 38 to the Agency of Commerce and Community Development for the Municipal Technical Assistance. And in line 39, also to the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, funding for the Vermont 250th anniversary. Line 40, funding for the Freedom and Unity grants at BSAC. And line 41, funding of the Treasurer's Office for the Vermont Taxpayer Assistance Program. And then we have the bills that currently are carrying one-time appropriations. Starting in line 44, Act 67 that you just passed related to government accountability. The language in that is to have the appropriation cover 2 years worth of costs. Line 45, H211, the data brokers bill, H559, the parole board bill.
So those three are all going in with the bills, and we're just accounting for them.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
Are we doing that I don't think we're doing that with the amortization study though, are we? Aren't we bringing that into the bill, the
We
budget?
took that out of.
You did take that out?
We took that out of the bill.
We took it out of the bill, it needs to go in the budget.
Okay, we'll put that one in the budget.
But it was from that bill.
Yes. We'll put that in the notes and put it in the treasurer's office one time. Then we have the prescription drug discount card, though I think that one stayed in the bill.
Into the bill, yep.
762, the study committee for county and regional government.
Yeah.
Stayed in the bill. The rental arrears program, that one is coming into the budget. That one you just did, so we gotta update that.
Yeah.
778 relating to dam safety. Those stayed in the bill.
Yeah.
The miscellaneous tax bill, the 10-year tax study stayed in the bill. And then the $500,000 for emergency ready response funding was in the
Is that
bill.
in the budget or in the bill, Marty?
Well, only because the bill has all this nice language about its purpose and how to
Okay,
do it and where it should,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
so just leave it in the
So I
bill.
didn't say leave it.
The bill that just left had it in it, so.
Right, and I wasn't sure, sometimes we, well, how we wanted to do that, so,
Right, I
okay,
understand, but just because all the language is there, if somebody's wondering about it, there's all
Yeah.
the language.
okay, let's leave it in the bill. Great, thank you.
So then the last at the very bottom, these are the transfers we just talked about and should look familiar. To the domestic sexual violence fund, the mobile radios that the governor had, to the domestic and sexual violence fund, to buy down the deficit in the CIT fund. We don't have to do the education, the transfer to backfill the purchase and use tax phase down. And then the 104 million for property tax relief going to the education fund. All is said and done. It looks like there's $10,000 on the bottom line, but it's really $6,900. So it rounds up to $10,000, but
Of one time? Or
yes,
Total everything?
when all is said and done, $6,000.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think we did pretty well. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think these are all the pieces that we're gonna get
Right, yeah.
tonight.
In terms of things you will, there's like a handful of things on Monday that I should say out loud so you're aware. There'll be changes related to the T bill that you passed. I believe there are a few small movements that need to happen in the budget associated with that. And then the changes to the education payment related to updated school budgets, that will be in the web report based on what those new numbers are.
I just got a text. It's good to know who's listening, from Todd at the AG's office, who will connect with you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
Where did we go down to, right? My goodness. So I think we have all the pieces and parts that we're gonna get. I hope everything looks familiar. I think we have reached that point where we get to do a straw poll.
Are we gonna put the picture of Camel's Hump on the budget?
Which direction?
So we'll take a straw poll. Is there a motion to approve the FY 27 budget as we know it now?
I move that we approve the budget as we have reviewed all these numbers umpteen million times. And we understand them. But nevertheless, I think we understand the reversions and the transfers and the one times and the bases and down to the bottom thing. So I move that we approve this budget as presented.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Any further discussion? I just want to thank you all. This has been amazing. Once again, here we are, when it's Monday, I think, oh my gosh, are we ever going to make it to Friday? And what time will it be? And we have to thank JF. We always have to thank JF. I was getting to that. I'm thanking my committee because you're wonderful and it's a joy to work with you all. And I'm thanking Emily and James and Chris and Catherine and Autumn and anybody else who's not, Nola's not here, but what a team you guys have. I don't know where we'd be without you. So we thank you for all your work. Thanks for all the help from the advocates who are here who correct us and just text me when I'm not sure what's happening. So I think we have pretty good. Great, yeah. Great. Hope you all feel good about it. Let's take a straw poll. The clerk is ready. Okay.
Representative Blumley,
Yes.
Representative Dickinson,
Yes.
Representative Feltes,
Yes.
Representative Kaczynska,
Yes.
Representative LaRoche.
Yes.
Representative Rowicki,
Yes.
Representative Nigro,
Yes.
Squirrel, yes, Representative Stevens.
Yes.
Representative Yakuboni
Yes.
and Representative.
Yes. Congratulations, everybody.
Okay.
All right, all I will say is be available. Our Cracker Jack team is gonna be working all weekend. Maybe get some fun into, but be available in case they have questions for your stuff, and otherwise we'll come back on, it's 1 o'clock on Monday, good for you guys? In joint fiscal, if we're back here at 1 to, and then we'll go over, we'll get all the stuff, they'll show us whatever we need to see, and then we'll all go off and read, and then we'll come back and vote. The final